Dearest soul, have you ever felt like nothing is moving? Like you've been waiting for a sign, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for a breakthrough, and yet every day looks exactly the same as the day before. You wake up, you hope, you visualize, you pray, you work toward your dreams, and then nothing. No message, no opportunity, no confirmation, no visible evidence that anything is changing. If you've ever found yourself standing in that place of uncertainty, this message is for you. Because what if the waiting was never meant to punish you? What if the silence wasn't a sign that your dream was being denied? What if the moments that felt empty were actually the moments that mattered most? Today, I want you to understand something that can completely change the way you look at your journey. The waiting was never working against you. It was preparing you. Think about that for a moment. Every great transformation has a period where nothing seems to happen on the surface. A seed sits beneath the soil long before anyone sees a flower. A caterpillar disappears into a cocoon before becoming a butterfly. Even the sun spends hours hidden beyond the horizon before it rises again. Nature itself teaches us that growth often happens in places we cannot see. Yet when it comes to our own lives, we become impatient. We assume that if we cannot see progress, there is no progress. We mistake invisibility for inactivity. But the truth is very different. Many of the greatest changes in your life are happening beneath the surface right now. You may not see them. You may not understand them. But that doesn't mean they aren't real. Sometimes the universe is arranging people, opportunities, circumstances, and timing in ways your mind cannot yet comprehend. Sometimes what appears to be a delay is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually redirection. And sometimes what feels like waiting is simply preparation. Preparation for something bigger than you imagined. The challenge is that preparation rarely feels exciting. Preparation often feels like uncertainty. It feels like not knowing. It feels like wondering if your efforts are making any difference. It feels like questioning whether your dream is still possible. But this is where the most important test begins. Not the test of talent, not the test of intelligence, not even the test of hard work, the test of belief. Can you continue believing when there is no evidence? Can you continue trusting when there are no guarantees? Can you keep moving forward when the outcome remains invisible? Because that is the moment that separates those who give up from those who eventually succeed. Many people think manifestation begins when something appears in physical reality. But manifestation starts much earlier than that. It begins as an idea, a vision, a desire, a possibility that enters your mind and refuses to leave. At first it seems small. Maybe it arrives as a dream. Maybe it appears as a feeling. Maybe it's a goal that excites your heart every time you think about it. That spark matters. Because every creation in human history began exactly the same way. Every invention, every business, every relationship, every achievement. First there was an idea. Then came belief. Someone decided that the idea was worth trusting before there was proof. That is where true manifestation begins. Not in the physical world, but within. The moment you decide that your dream deserves faith. And faith is a fascinating thing. Faith is not pretending difficulties don't exist. Faith is not ignoring reality. Faith is choosing to believe in a future that has not yet arrived. It's looking at today's circumstances and understanding they are not the final chapter of your story. It's recognizing that today's limitations do not determine tomorrow's possibilities. Many people abandon their dreams because they become obsessed with evidence. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But manifestation often works in reverse. You see it after you believe it. The inner world changes first, then the outer world follows. This is why your mindset matters so much. Your expectations shape your experience. When you constantly expect failure, disappointment, and setbacks, your energy becomes aligned with fear. You begin noticing every obstacle, every delay, every reason why something might not happen. But when you expect good things, something extraordinary occurs. Your awareness changes. Your confidence changes, your actions change, and eventually your results begin to change as well. This is why imagination is so powerful. Many people underestimate it. They think imagining their desired future is merely daydreaming. But imagination is much more than that. Imagination allows you to emotionally experience possibilities before they physically arrive. It helps train your mind to become familiar with success, familiar with abundance, familiar with happiness, familiar with achievement, and familiarity creates comfort. When your desired future feels natural, resistance begins to disappear. Imagine someone waiting for an important opportunity, perhaps a new career, perhaps financial freedom. perhaps a life-changing breakthrough. Every day they check for evidence. Every day they wonder when it will happen. Every day they become frustrated by the absence of visible results. Now imagine another person. This person also has a dream. But instead of obsessing over what's missing, they focus on the feeling of already moving toward it. They smile when they think about it. They feel gratitude before it arrives. They imagine the joy of receiving it. They mentally rehearse the experience. Who do you think has the stronger energy? Who do you think is creating a more powerful internal environment? The second person. Because they are living from expectation rather than desperation. And that difference is enormous. Desperation pushes things away. Expectation draws them closer. One says, I need this to happen. The other says, I know it's coming. One is rooted in fear. The other is rooted in trust. Trust is one of the most underrated forces in manifestation. Not blind trust, not passive trust, but confident trust. The kind that allows you to keep moving forward even when the road curves out of sight. Think about how often you've survived challenges that once seemed impossible. There were moments when you didn't know how things would work out. Yet somehow they did, perhaps not exactly as you expected, but life found a way. You found a way. That same strength still exists within you today. You have already overcome difficulties you once thought would break you. You have already navigated uncertainty before, which means you are more capable than you realize. The struggle you are experiencing right now does not define your future. It is simply a chapter, and chapters change, pages turn, stories evolve. Nothing remains the same forever. Not hardship, not confusion, not delay. Everything moves, everything transforms, everything progresses, even when you cannot see it. Especially when you cannot see it. Right now, there may be forces working in your favor that you know nothing about. A conversation happening somewhere. An opportunity developing. A door preparing to open. A connection preparing to appear. A solution moving closer. Life often works behind the scenes before revealing the outcome. That's why patience is so important. Patience is not sitting still and doing nothing. Patience is maintaining your faith while continuing to move forward. It is choosing belief over panic, hope over fear, trust over doubt. Every day you continue despite uncertainty, you become stronger. Every day you refuse to surrender your vision, you build resilience. Every day you keep believing, you reinforce the identity of someone who expects good things. And eventually reality begins catching up with that expectation. One day the evidence arrives. One day the breakthrough appears. One day the phone rings. One day the message comes. One day the opportunity you've been waiting for finally stands before you. And when that moment arrives, you'll realize something important. The manifestation didn't begin on the day it appeared. It began the day you decided not to give up. It began the day you continued believing, despite uncertainty. It began the day you chose faith over fear. That was the true turning point. That was the moment everything changed. Because every manifestation is created twice. First in the mind, then in reality. First in belief, then in experience. First in vision, then in form. Never underestimate the power of holding a vision long enough for reality to catch up. Many people quit moments before their breakthrough. Not because they lacked ability, not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked patience. Don't let that be your story. Keep going, keep believing, keep imagining, keep preparing yourself for the life you desire. Act as though your future is already making its way towards you, because in many ways it is. The universe responds to consistency. It responds to conviction. It responds to those who remain aligned with their vision even when circumstances appear unchanged. So today, release the fear that nothing is happening. Release the belief that the waiting has been wasted. Release the assumption that delay means denial. Instead, embrace a new perspective. The waiting was preparation. The uncertainty was growth. The silence was alignment, and the path you have been walking is leading somewhere meaningful. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not stuck, you are becoming. The struggle is ending. The pieces are moving, the circumstances are shifting. The evidence you've been waiting for is drawing closer with every passing day. Trust the process, trust your journey, trust the timing. Most importantly, trust yourself. Because the version of you that has survived every challenge, every disappointment, every setback, and every delay is stronger than you know. Your story is still unfolding, your breakthrough is still approaching, and your greatest chapter may be closer than you think. Keep believing, keep smiling, keep moving forward. The future you have imagined is already searching for a way to find you.